Hello, and welcome to the OWLS Online Graduate Practicum Forum for Fall 2020. My name is Kellie Price, and I am a Master's of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies candidate in the Organization, Workforce, and Leadership Studies Department at Texas State University. By day, I work as an appellate attorney for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. My practicum is entitled Developing a Secondary Traumatic Stress Support for Child Welfare Workers. I had three main purposes in designing my practicum. The first and main purpose was to be involved in the design and implementation of an evidence-based secondary traumatic stress support intervention that would be open to any employee of DFPS who needed it. To achieve this, I joined the agency's secondary traumatic stress work group, which was tasked with the very same mission. My second purpose was to practice what I like to call creative advocacy. That is, I wanted to promote the mission and values of DFPS outside of the normal courtroom setting. Third, I wanted to become informed enough about secondary traumatic stress and possible interventions that I could speak on the topic and develop trainings for child welfare attorneys in the form of continuing legal education. My practicum site was with my employer, the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Prior to the pandemic, the work group met primarily in Austin, and I had the opportunity to call into meetings as needed from my office in San Antonio. After the pandemic led us to mostly work remotely, my practicum site effectively became my own home. I formed objectives in three areas. My cross-cultural global awareness objective was to help develop the actual STS support intervention. After discussing a number of options for different interventions, we decided the most beneficial would be to create a program of virtual support groups for employees. For intellectual development, I wanted to learn about secondary traumatic stress and be able to teach others about it, which leads me to my career exploration objective. As an attorney, I wanted to be able to present continuing legal education specifically involving secondary traumatic stress and child welfare attorneys. Like many helping professionals, child welfare practitioners are at increased risk of developing secondary traumatic stress, which is akin to post-traumatic stress, but it stems from working with or trying to help traumatized individuals. Unaddressed secondary traumatic stress can lead to burnout and employee turnover. The literature makes clear that caseworker turnover has negative impacts on children and families. Left untreated, secondary traumatic stress has the potential to burden the system as a whole and can negatively impact the agency's mission. There were several highlights that took place throughout my practicum. When I first joined the work group, I was very intimidated. Nearly every other person on the group had real-life experience in the field and a much deeper understanding of the subject matter. I wanted to be of real value to the group. So I volunteered to draft the initial proposal based on our consensus at meetings and supported by citations to the literature and the research I had done. While drafting the proposal, it occurred to me that some details had not yet been decided in the group. So I had the opportunity to make suggestions in the draft, and many of those suggestions were ultimately adopted by the group. Attending the work group meetings was a second highlight. I had the opportunity to meet a number of amazing people at my agency who I likely would not have met otherwise. And despite my feeling a little underqualified to be on the group, I truly felt valued and appreciated. Knowing that my agency includes people who are as dedicated and thoughtful as the members of the work group makes me appreciate my agency that much more. While I expected to meet incredible people within my agency, I did not expect to connect professionally with people outside of my agency. One of my most cherished experiences was in reaching out to the University of Texas San Antonio's Clinical Mental Health Counseling Program to discuss the possibility of partnering for the purpose of facilitating the virtual support groups. I had several meetings with the clinical director of UTSA's Counseling Center, and she has already become a valued connection for me. A fourth highlight that took place so recently that I didn't have a chance to create a slide for it was that just days before making this recording, the leadership in our agency formally approved our proposal. So now we will get to move forward with next steps. There were also highlights in the literature. The Children's Commission published its blueprint in 2019. The blueprint recognizes that in order to build a truly trauma-informed system, it must recognize and address secondary trauma. The blueprint's commentary on the need for organizations to provide training and resources that support staff, cultivate resilience, and mitigate the impact of secondary trauma is at the very core of our mission in the work group. Sprang, Ford, Keurig, and Bride's 2019 article on defining secondary traumatic stress was particularly enlightening. Despite the fact that secondary traumatic stress is recognized as a serious issue in the helping professions, it turns out there is not a settled definition or even a definitive assessment. Further, while self-care and wellness promotion are the most common elements of secondary traumatic stress interventions, the literature revealed that participation in trainings on these topics does not necessarily result in practitioners spending more time on self-care or in decreased secondary traumatic stress. Keurig's 2019 Enhancing Resilience article was by far my most cited source. This article informed several of our programming decisions. For example, we chose to incorporate facilitators who would be able to redirect participants who may be ruminating or getting stuck in their negative appraisals of their trauma story. This programming decision stemmed from Keurig's identification of meaning making as a key element of secondary traumatic stress support. The goals of increasing participant self-efficacy, emotional awareness and acceptance, affect regulation, resilience, and prevention were also informed by Keurig's curriculum. Throughout my practicum, several strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats became clear. I will discuss one under each heading. A clear strength is that I gained relevant experience in line with my career goals. I am committed to a career at my agency, and being part of the work group and proposing a brand new program in a subject matter that was relatively new to me prepared me for the type of work I anticipate leadership positions would entail. My biggest weakness that emerged was my impatience. I have a very enthusiastic personality, and when I think an idea is worthwhile, I want to promote it and see it come to fruition as quickly as possible. But quickly does not and should not be the overarching goal in a state agency. We have a responsibility to our employees and to Texans to take the necessary time to get things right. The biggest opportunity that arose was the ability to establish myself as an authority regarding secondary traumatic stress. I have taken what I've learned from this practicum to design a CLE presentation for secondary traumatic stress as it relates to child welfare attorneys. I have already discussed presenting this CLE at a conference in the spring. My biggest threat is that due to my enthusiasm about a great many things, I tend to want to know and do everything. I fear that my tendency towards breadth over depth will earn me a reputation as a surface level thinker, so it may be time to narrow my focus. In the immediate future, I have three main plans. The first is to remain a part of the work group. While my practicum semester is ending, I am still committed to the group's mission. Second, I have updated my resume to include this project and the work I've done, and I plan to apply for promotions that may become available. Third, I plan to present on secondary traumatic stress as it pertains to child welfare attorneys at a continuing legal education seminar in the spring of 2021. Thank you for listening to my practicum presentation. If you look down, you'll see the thumbs up and thumbs down icons. Please indicate your preference by clicking the appropriate one. And don't worry, it is anonymous. I also welcome your comments and questions, which can be typed into the YouTube comment section below. I will respond to inquiries that are posted within the 2 weeks after this is posted to the OWL's website, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.